and turn it around. All right, M193 number 1, 2, and then 3. M855 number 1, 2, and then 3. Then our A1 number 1, 2, and then 3. Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, also known as the King of Armor Destruction, the Armor Wizard. Zap, zap, and Mr. Getting cold because we're getting towards the end of the season, so I gotta bundle up. But we have a body armor demo today of the surplus kind. A big thank you to two of our followers, Nick and another Patreon member, who donated these plates for me to destroy with no strings attached. These are some early SAPI from the US military plates. Let's throw these guys on the table and talk about what we're going to do today. As I mentioned, two of my followers donated these plates for us to demo with no strings attached. There is a lot of discussion on whether these are relevant in 2025 because these came out in the early 2000s or not. So both of these guys sent these over for us to demo. This on the back says pretty much M80 ball protection, the threat standard. I'll put a picture-in-picture here. So it's for M80 ball, M855, and our 7.62 by 54 R mild steel core, I think at like 2,300 feet per second. So this is a size small. It's only 708 thousandths thick, or 18 millimeters, very, very thin. It's 3.420 pounds or 1.55 kilograms. It is multi-curve. This is where we get that SAPI sizing from a lot of different manufacturers, is the cut and different shapes of this. So it's multi-curve, so we've got the curve right there, we've got the curve right there, and then the edges curve up there as well. These plates are an in conjunction with plate, meaning that you need a soft 3A backer behind them to actually meet that specification level. Now, if this is the first time you're viewing my YouTube channel, we do all of our body armor demos completely different than everyone else on YouTube. We're after worst case scenario. Let's rewind that, say it again. We're after worst case scenario. Since this is rifle armor, we shoot at 45 feet. We also shoot at 0 degrees, again, because that is worst case scenario. We use a giant clay briefcase filled with Roma Plastiline, #1 clay from GWOT. That's the same clay that the NIJ uses, but they get to heat it in an environmental chamber, an industrial oven, and they can take it out for an hour and put it back for 3. We're out here in the woods. It's like 50 degrees outside today. I have a little quote-unquote oven, but the second that I take it out of there, the clay is going to start to get cold because it's going to gravitate towards ambient temperatures. So we're looking at a representation of back face. If you see something like 50 to 60 millimeters in my clay in the NIJ's eyes, that likely would be failing. Normally, per the NIJ, since this employs a ceramic strike face, we would go ahead and drop each plate on its face 2 times as a preconditioning standard, but these early plates didn't have any type of drop face protection, so we're going to forego doing any of that because when we've drop tested plates in the past that you're not supposed to drop test, sometimes we will crack the ceramic or delaminate the ceramic from the backing, and we can negatively impact performance. From what we can tell, both our SAPI small and large employ a ceramic strike face that extends all the way out to the outer perimeter. Some companies, when they sell you some armor that may be lighter than traditional, is that they use a foam ring that goes on the perimeter of the strike face here, and then you effectively get less ceramic, so that's how it weighs less. We use a chronograph whenever possible. We have a Proconal Pal Digital DLX, as well as our Athlon Optics Rangecraft Doppler chronograph. You put that guy on the desk, you point in the general direction, and it doesn't need any light. It listens for the gunshot and then pretty much gives you instantaneous feedback. So we have 2 data sets there, so if one doesn't pick up, usually we have the other one. We can take an average of it to know kind of where we fall ballpark wise, velocity, because that matters a lot when we're testing armor. Some specifications, like for this plate, calls for M855 at 3250 feet per second, and generally those numbers are, again, worst case scenario, and you wouldn't likely see those in the real world. I think any time that I've tested M855, I've topped that thing out around 3115 feet per second. So we're going to be a little bit under that velocity, but I think we can throw some other threats at this today that will give us a good run for its money. We put a spreadsheet here at the beginning and the end. We kind of foreshadow all the threats we're going to shoot at it. We mark our velocities and our pass-throughs. In the end, we do a teardown to see what the inside of these plates look like. I know the design has changed over time, and effectively this SAPI plate has been replaced by the eSAPI plate in various different revisions from that, and that plate is actually pretty darn good in terms of protection level. And finally, I do want to remind everyone that I am not an NIJ lab or a Department of Defense or Department of Justice, so if you see a threat stopped or passed through, you should always defer to the manufacturer to produce accredited, recent, and frequent lab results. All these surplus plates, I think R.A.N.G.E, I don't think they're going to notice that I produced this video. And on the flip side, if you're the manufacturer and you see me stop some kind of insane threat, you should always send that off to a lab and have that added as a special rifle threat to your panel. And one final caveat is, again, I'm not a lab. I'm out here doing this with my own dollars or donations, so I'm a hobbyist.
So if you see some kind of pass-through after the 6th or 7th shot, don't always assume that that plate is ineffective or garbage. I'm just stretching my dollars as thin as possible. Since our SAPI plates are an ICW or in conjunction with, we have a IOTV from right around 2013 that we'll use, and effectively this is like a 3A. We also have this groin protector right here and a side plate insert as well. So we have a few different pieces of 3A that we're going to use behind these plates so that we ensure that we have the system properly set up. Our SAPI size small is strapped in and ready to go now. Because it is a small, we can take less hits on this plate. So we're going to go right to what my follower asked, and that is our 7.62 by 5.4R. This is the 152 grain LPS silver tip round. It has a mild steel core in it. The SAPI listing for on the Wikipedia page says it should stop this 3 hits at 2,300 feet per second. Now that's quite a bit of range, I do believe, from an actual 9130 or an M44, M38. I do believe I've tested the M38 before at right around 2,600 feet per second. I have this loaded in 308, so I've resized the bullet a little bit so that I can actually hit what I'm aiming at. So we've got a 13-inch SCAR 17 here. $26.95, so I was, whoa. $26.74, $26.66. So I pretty much had a pretty stout loading on that. I was hoping for 2,300 from what I've gotten before with 150 grain. Looks like I overshot that a bit.
I lost my helper hand for today. He went home to do some leaves with Amy. Deacon would like to remind you all to like and subscribe these videos and share them. I'm a smaller channel, and all that engagement actually helps. Even just dropping a comment like thanks will help the channel get some more views on this stuff. So our LPS shot number 1 and then number 2. In the NIJ's eyes, those would be considered fair hits. That's about 3 inches. Place those bets in the comments below. No pass-throughs, folks. We got some dimpling back there. No pass-through. We have our 3A backer, our groin insert. And this guy here, he's seen a little better days. So our back face there, though, this guy, right around 30 millimeters there. And then this guy, right around 21 millimeters. I need to make like a brace that goes across this and flatten it out for better measuring. But again, I'm just doing this as a hobbyist. I am impressed that it stopped those at almost close to what you would rate M80 ball at, 2780, and that's a lead core, usually with a mild steel jacket. So we got a mild steel core, which you could argue is harder to stop, and they rated it 2,300 feet per second. We were 300 feet per second better than that. I'd say that's a win-win in my book. We'll see what this will do, if it'll stop M193 and M855A1.
All right, now this is where it gets a little bit spicy. We've got 3 flavors of 5.56 NATO, one of the most popular calibers that I test to try against this particular plate. Now, because it's an ICW, a lot of the times the level 3A can be a couple different types of material. It's Kevlar, aramid fiber, like yellow stuff, woven fabric looking, or some of the newer 3A is ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, the white stuff. And that in a 3A backer is very advantageous over the aramid because it can actually stop not only speed, which usually defeats our soft armor, not always the answer for all of armor defeating, but that polyethylene can also stop some bullet construction types as well, at least in our 3A. So we've got our M855, that's our 62 grain SS109, got the lead core with the steel penetrating tip, 4950 RHC. We've got M193, that's our 55 grain full metal jacket, known for popping steel armor when you get into 16 inches and above velocity spec-wise. Then we've got the US Army's new hotness. I say new, but it's been around for a while. M855A1, that's the enhanced performance round, has a copper core and a longer, harder, sharper steel penetrating tip, 5960 RHC. That's what she said, folks. So M193 first. 3302, 3265, 3273, 3042, 3008, 3056, Now our M855A1, 3135, 3092, 3131. All right.
And turn it around. All right, M193, number 1, 2, and then 3. M855, number 1, 2, and then 3. Then our A1, number 1, 2, and then 3. Now, I think I was a little close to that LPS round right there. That's what I get for not marking them. But I would consider all these other ones fair hits. Oh, Raggy, we have 2 pass-throughs from the plate itself of the M855A1, but our M193 and the M855 was stopped. Now, I did bring my 545 with me today, but it's only the 8-inch. We might have to get that out for plate number 2. So now, our groin protector up here, he's pretty much good to go. Here were the 2 shots of A1. Whoa! Only 1 pass-through from that bottom shot, but that guy over here was actually stopped. Now, you could argue that guy was on the, whoa, that guy didn't even stand a chance because literally he was on the edge of that panel. I think maybe we'll take a couple more shots of A1 on the second plate and use the larger insert, but that's promising. So, in my opinion, this plate is a very outdated plate because it's in early 2000s. The likelihood of you finding good surplus of these because of the age is probably not as great. You would probably be better off buying the SAPI. But if these are still made in a specification currently by other manufacturers against 5.56 threats, it's doing a really good job.
Our SAPI size large plate is ready to go. We're losing daylight. It was cloudy today. So we're going to take 2 shots of our M80 ball. It's our 147 grain full metal jacket. This particular lot from Winchester has a bimetal jacket, meaning that the jacket attracts a magnet. Likely it's a mild steel jacket. I've got a 22-inch TC compass here. We're going to take 2 shots from this. We'll take 4 shots of M855A1, check our plate, and then I think I've got 2 spicy rounds we can check after that. Right where it says large. 2813. 2815, that was way in the lower corner. And now we're gonna go for 6 hits of M855A1. There should be plenty of spots left on this plate for that. 3102, 3068, 3128, 3118, 3143, 3101.
M80 ball shot number 1 and then number 2. Now that's really close to the edge. I apologize, I pulled that somehow. Our M855A1, I'm going to consider all these a fair hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And we got 3 spots left for a special treat. Place those bets in the comments below. Oh, Raggy. Now, we have no pass-throughs from the M80 ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 6 on this particular plate of the A1 pass through. That's no good, folks. It looks like we stopped 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like we only stopped one of them. The other, yes. So this particular SAPI, whatever manufacturer it is, cannot take M855A1. Now the other plate did. That could be a manufacturing difference, could be a revision difference, or a variance in the ceramic. But in this case, it's going to be very, very iffy on whether this particular plate would stop M855A1.
Our final 3 shots on this plate, I don't think it's going to look too good. So we added the groin protector 3A just as a little more buffer here. But this is our 6.8 by 51 millimeters. This is the MCX Spear from Sig Sauer. So this is like the XM or M7, but it has a 16-inch barrel. I do believe they have an M7A1 out that has a 10-inch barrel now. We have the suppressor up front, and we have a reduced velocity load on here. Nick, one of the followers who donated these SAPI, had listed that lower velocity M80A1 from 300 Blackout would likely pop this plate. So I have 3 loads here that we're working on to do a gel test. We have a 23 grain powder charge, a 25 and 30, and this is effectively simulating range. Somebody who's really smart will have to calculate the ballistic coefficient for this XM1186. It's the 120 grain EPR, pretty much just like M855A1 and M80A1. 1967, 1614, 1689.
We're losing daylight, but I think we're done with this plate. The 30 grain charge was there, 25 and then 23. Those are fair hits. Place those bets in the comments below. Now this will be rather interesting because that bullet is long. Its penetrator is almost as long as the entire M80A1 bullet. Come on, come on. What do we got going on here? Place those bets in the comments below. R.A.N.G.E. We have 3 clean pass-throughs through the plate. We threw our groin protector back there. There's also 3 clean pass-throughs through there. And now the question is, R.A.N.G.E. 1, 2, and then 3 pass-throughs through that. That bullet is going to be hard to stop. That is pretty much a level 4 threat for anything. I think at this point, this is done. Let's tear these down as quickly as possible so that we can get the heck out of here before we lose our daylight.
Paging Dr. Matt to surgery. Paging Dr. Matt to surgery. Now, for fan favorite, the teardown. That's where we get to look at the guts of these plates, and these will be pretty interesting because these 2 SAPI inserts are constructed slightly different. As far as our IOTV or level 3A soft goes, we're using 100% pure aramid Kevlar. This was right around 250 thousandths thick. The same for our groin protector, 250, as well as the side panel there. So nothing to write home about on that. Now let's go to the SAPI size small here. This is our backer, right around 415 thousandths. It is laminated. It maintained most of its shape. We started to delaminate it, and some reason or another, these older plates sometimes have discoloration. I'm not sure if that's due to age, maybe moisture and whatnot, but here is the backer, still fairly rigid. Now, what I noticed about these particular plates is our strike face isn't bonded to our backer very well. You'll see people give soft armor manufacturers some crap about it, but it looks like all they do is tape that strike face to the backer, and that's all there is. So that's an improvement that a lot of manufacturers are doing, is adhering this to our strike face. And this is our strike face, and this is what I love about some of our higher end components, at least at the time, is that this strike face, whether it's silicon carbide or boron carbide, it's the gray ceramic, hard to tell without the manufacturer specifying, is how well they laminate this together. So this is our strike face, and I think this is why the SAPI size small did better. This one was right around 247 thousandths thick. You can see that it's complete edge to edge. Don't have any ceramic manufacturing marks on there that I can decipher. So that 247 thousandths, take that to note. 1 second. Then here is the SAPI size large. We are using, again, ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. Measured that right around 445 thousandths. You'll see that it says Spectra Shield on there. Very, very high quality components. Here is the drop face foam, almost like you would use bubble wrap for. It's kind of squishy, but it looks like honeycomb. 210 thousandths thick. Now here's the strike face on the large. What do you see there? 197 thousandths thick. That's pretty thin for being able to reliably stop some of our more advanced threats, such as M855A1. Amazing, even at that reduced velocity, our 6.8 XM1186 was able to pass through. And again, this was laminated in a way that that strike face is still pretty solid in the places that we didn't hit, and that's what I like to see. With all that being said, folks, it's dark. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see the closing or not, but let's get the heck out of here. Well, folks, what do you all think of the performance of this plate? To give a nod to the person who helped make this test possible, I think this plate is la gomme, or just right, like Goldilocks would say. We had some interesting performance out of this pretty much 22-year-old design. We seem to have good construction on the smaller size SAPI plate, and then our larger SAPI plate I think had a thinner strike face, so that's why we were seeing some of our pass-throughs with our M855A1 and then our 6.8 EPR round. But our LPS and then our 7N1 sniper ammunition in 7.62x54R were both stopped in this plate, and originally the specification called for the LPS round at 2,300 feet per second, and we were 300 feet per second over that. Our M855 and M193 were contained in this plate without issue as well. It is interesting on this dated design how much of the internal construction pretty much remains the same on body armor that's been produced 20 years later. I will say the construction of our plates today is superior than that of our original SAPIs. You know, it looked like they were using tape to tape the strike face to the backer, but they did a good job at laminating that strike face, whether it's silicon carbide or boron carbide. That thing pretty much remained whole throughout the different areas, even with as many shots as we put on those plates. With all that being said, it's time for me to get the heck out of here. But at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who helped make these possible, because there's a lot that goes into them. Number one is my family. Deacon would like to remind you all, while he's dancing behind the camera, to like and subscribe to these videos to get that algorithm working for us and not against us. Number two are my Patreon and YouTube channel members. Without them, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen. I wouldn't have gotten these SAPI plates to test. I have a campsite in the description below. It's a landing page, and there's different ways to support me through affiliate links or discount tracking codes. I'm never one here to push sales you guys away. I try to offer you guys 100% genuine information. So if you're looking to say thank you to the channel for this information, that's what those links are there for. Number three are the fine gentlemen, again, in full transparency, donated those SAPI plates for us to destroy with no strings attached. And of course, you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.